The Law Factor with advocate Clarence Arenas Gandawa.
Greetings of the day. Land is not soil, land is security, land is dignity, land is inheritance, land is the anchor of African life. But across the continent, land sits at the crossroads of three competing forces: customary authority, state authority, citizens' rights. When these forces collide, the citizen is often the one crushed in the middle. Because where land is power, law becomes negotiation. And where law becomes negotiation, justice becomes optional. Three powers and the vacuum between them. The African land question is not a single problem. It is a triangle of competing jurisdictions. Customary power. Chiefs allocate land, resolve disputes, and enforce tradition. State power. Government claims ownership, regulates tenure, and controls titles. Citizen power. Individuals seek security, equality, and protection under the Constitution. But the problem is simple. These powers overlap without clarity. And where there is no clarity, there is conflict. This vacuum creates double allocation, gender discrimination, arbitrary evictions, political interferences, corruption in land boards, unclear tenure security, endless disputes with no final authority. A nation cannot develop when its land system is built on uncertainty. Let's look at a case study. A widow in Mzimba. A widow in Mzimba, Malawi, lost her husband. She had lived on the land for 20 years, raised children there, farmed there, buried her husband there. But when he died, the husband's relatives arrived. They claimed the land belonged to the clan. The chief agreed. She was told to leave. She went to the magistrate's court. The court said it was a customary matter. She went to the chief. The chief said it was family land. She went to the family. The family said she had no rights. She was evicted, not by law, but by the absence of law. This is the danger of unclear land systems. The vulnerable become disposable. Judicial responsibility. Courts must constitutionalize custom. Judges must treat land disputes not as cultural puzzles, but as constitutional questions. Courts must insist on equality before the law, protection of women's rights, fair hearing in customary disputes, limits on arbitrary evictions, recognition of legitimate occupation, judicial review of customary decisions. Custom is not above the Constitution. Custom must operate within the Constitution. The rope must ensure that tradition does not become oppression. Let's talk Parliament, writing the rules of ownership. Lawmakers must bring order to the chaos of land governance. Parliament must enact laws, define the powers of chiefs, clarify the powers of the state, protect citizens' tenure rights, establish transparent land boards, require written records of allocation, criminalize double allocation, guarantee women's land rights, provide appeal mechanisms. When Parliament avoids the land question becomes a national crisis. A country cannot modernize on uncertain ground. Public education. Citizens must know their land rights. Citizens must understand customary land is not personal property of chiefs. Women have constitutional rights to land. Evictions require lawful process. Land allocations must be documented. Disputes can be appealed to higher courts. Political actors cannot allocate land arbitrarily. A population that does not know its land rights is a population that can be displaced at will. Radios, churches, community meetings, chiefs' councils, these must teach citizens how to protect their land and their dignity. Eswatini in focus, the dual land system and the citizen. Eswatini's land system is defined by two realities: Swazi nation land under chiefs, title deed land under customary law. This duality creates unclear boundaries of authority, vulnerability of women under customary norms, political influence in land allocation, limited documentation of tenure, weak protection against arbitrary eviction, confusion over dispute resolution pathways. Citizens often do not know which law protects them or which authority governs them. Eswatini must modernize its land governance without erasing culture, but also without sacrificing constitutional rights. A nation cannot build prosperity on land that citizens cannot securely claim. Land is not just a territory, it is the foundation of freedom. A land system that confuses authority invites abuse. A land system that excludes women invites injustice. A land system without documentation invites corruption. The law must ensure that every citizen, man or woman, rich or poor, rural or urban, stands secure on the land they call home. Do not fear custom. Fear custom without constitutional limits. Do not reject tradition. Align it with rights. The law moves forward, you must move with it. See you next Thursday. The work continues.
Springfield Law Clinic, justice defined, rights protected. We are here to serve.